Okay, we're officially live. Give it a few moments for people to jump into the stream here. Okay, we got about 30 seconds before the regular session ends. Just going to give it a moment for the socials to fill up. Streaming on YouTube, X, Twitch, Kick. What's up, everybody? Good to see you. Okay, we got Salesforce and Snowflake reporting earnings. And just real quick, Salesforce, which is ticker symbol CRM, they report right at 4. So it's right now. We go back to the candles actually right now. Okay, price is kind of paused. Anticipation for the earnings data. No movement yet. Should be any moment here. And the other company reporting earnings is Snowflake, of course. They're at 4:05 p.m., so about 5 more minutes. So what we're going to get Salesforce first. Got the 1-minute chart pulled up here on the TradingView. Got almost 100 people in the stream right now. Welcome, everybody. Okay, here's a move from Salesforce. What's up, Mad Maverick? Over here in the Discord. One of our other coaches. He's been trading forever. Very knowledgeable guy. Good to see you, man. Okay. Oh, look at this old fib I got on here from before. Delete that. Okay, getting some volatility on Salesforce. Initially wicked down. It was a real quick one, down to 228 and some change. Now it's kind of catching a bid, up 7%, 5%, 6%. Of course, post-market price action is live. Okay, let's see what this reaction is going to end up being. Usually give it a few minutes. We don't know if this is going to be the real move or not. Got Snowflake on the right side here. Still waiting on them. Salesforce, their data should be out. Okay, looks like Mad Maverick was talking about CRM last week. Earnings lotto trade. Hero or zero was call option. So far, that's looking good. Salesforce is up almost $20 a share. I mean, if those calls were even somewhat close to the money, those things will be in the money if this holds up. Still up about $18 a share. Looking like a positive reaction for Salesforce so far. I don't want to speak too soon, but it looks good. Working on a second green candle print right now. First candle closed. Got Snowflake on the right. Another few minutes for Snowflake. There is some buying going on Snowflake right now, but about 2 more minutes for Snowflake's earnings results. Okay, we got over 100 people in the stream now. Welcome, everybody. Swinging Bull with PB Alerts, the options trading coach over there. Okay, let me get Salesforce's data. CRM. I remember trading CRM years ago. Back in, I remember, this was probably back in like 2021, 2022. Of course, 2022 was the bear market, so I remember trading this a long time ago. It was in the 200s too when I was trading it. Okay, let me go back to intraday candles here. Zoom in a bit. Okay, Salesforce has still got buying going on. Who just popped in here? Unrod in the Porterhouse. Good to see both of y'all. Mad Maverick said he alerted CRM calls in the Discord last week. and he ended up having some profit on the table before the earnings. So looks like he decided to take that profit. Okay, you alerted him on Monday. All right, cool. Yeah, 2 days ago. And I agree with that. You know, if you buy something in anticipation for earnings and you got profit on the table before the earnings announcement, I typically would go ahead and just take that, put that right in my pocket. Why trade through the earnings if you're already profitable? Because trading through the earnings, that's a true coin flip. We've seen it time and time again. Company beats EPS forecast, beats revenue forecast, and then they mess with the guidance a little bit in a negative way, and they sell off. So we kind of don't know what the guidance is until after the announcement. Of course, the EPS and revenue as well. But look at Snowflake, just did a huge reversal. Snowflake's down 5% right now. Salesforce trying to hold up. I'm going to throw some fib lines on this thing and just kind of see where we're at here. Let's see. I'm not going to count this bottom wick way down here. That wasn't the real move. So let's go to the, I think I'll go right here to basically where it closed at. And just look at some of these levels. So it's retraced about 50% of this initial pump so far. Now the question is this healthy price action? Usually we get a little pulled back after a nice little pump, so which is normal. Look at Snowflake. Ouch. Down almost 6%. It's still kind of popping around like a piece of popcorn, though. We'll see. Overall, of course, it's a bearish move, so we'll see if a bottom comes in. This is a 5-minute chart. Let me go 1 minute here. Okay, working on the second 1 minute candle since the data was dropped. Salesforce came up to 262, or I'm sorry, came up to around a little over 261. It closed the regular session at 238.67. And now it's retracing back to the 240s. It's past the golden fib ratio here, 0.61. That's around 247 a share. So really like Salesforce to get back above 247. That would be ideal. If not, this might have a good chance of coming right back down to where it started from. So I'll keep my eye on it. Let me go ahead and get the EPS and revenue for everyone for Salesforce. And then we'll jump over to Snowflake and see what's up with that, because investors aren't impressed with Snowflake's earnings data, as you can see from the red candle printing over here on the right side of my screen. So Salesforce, which is CRM, they beat EPS. Looks like it came in at 3.25, and the expectation was 2.86. So they beat EPS. Revenue expectation was 10.27 billion. They reported 10.25 billion. So they did miss on revenue a little bit. Let me see what else I can find here. Here's a nice little graphic here. Okay, so this is what I just went over. So they beat EPS by 14%. They did miss revenue. Maybe that has a little bit to do with why they're kind of selling a little bit. I mean, overall, they're still green in after hours, but they've retraced this little pump they just had almost 78%. Probably around 75%. They retraced it back down. It's printing a few small green candles right now, so we'll see if this is just going to be like a higher low. It'd be nice if a higher low prints right here. It's right around 244. I'm going to call it 244.50. So that's probably going to be my support level number 1 as far as post-market price action goes. 244.50. Would love that to hold. That would solidify a higher low here. And maybe you can start making a little run back up to after hours high. We'll see after a few more candle prints, but year over year numbers for EPS and revenue are green. Specifically EPS was up 35% year over year. Revenue up 9% year over year, even though they did miss expectations on this report. Quarter over quarter numbers are green, but they did miss revenue. I'm thinking that's why maybe it's pulled back as much as it did after this little pump. But let me get some more info for everyone. I want to see what the guidance was. Okay, for CRM, okay, Q3 earnings, fiscal year 2026 guidance. The estimate was 41.3 billion, and they just put guidance out for 41.5 billion. So they did increase guidance a little bit for next year. And also, and that was for sales revenue. For EPS guidance for next year, the estimate was 11.38 for the EPS, and they said the guidance now is 11.76. So just a little summary here. They as far as the forecasts or the expectations were, EPS they beat, revenue they missed just by a little bit. Year over year, quarter over quarter numbers nice and green, and they did raise guidance for next year for sales and EPS. That's a solid report, I think. That's why it's not selling off right now. I mean, like I said, we did print these two red candles here, but might have been a little profit taking after that. That was a decent pump it had from basically 240 to 260 off the initial reaction. So might have been some profit taking in after hours on some shares. I'm really looking for 244.50 to hold as a higher low. If that holds as a higher low, I'd make another leg up, maybe run towards after hours high. We'll see. But if 244.50 fails, that'd be a little concerning. It might come back down to right before where this green candle started. Go here. Okay. And Mad Maverick on Discord. So you opened up those earnings lotto calls on CRM on Monday. They were up 30% into today. So yeah, I mean, I if that was me, I would take that. You know, you've kind of been, because what was the thesis of the trade was like an earnings lotto trade, hero or zero. Well, if you can take the hero or zero part out of it because you have profit on the table before the earnings announcement, that's a win for me. And I would be pocketing that for sure. And looks like that's what Mad Maverick did. So what's up, Ninja? Good to see you. Nikki's here. Sad Boy Slim. Good to see you, brother. Stick for Hires in the house. A nice little group over here in the Discord hanging out. I'm going to jump over to Snowflake here in a minute, but I just want to look at some more info for CRM. So again, okay, we got over 300 people in the stream now, so welcome everybody. Just to recap for Salesforce and CRM, they missed revenue just by a little bit. They did a great job beating the EPS forecast or estimate, if you will, and they did increase fiscal year 2026 guidance for sales and EPS. That's normally, I mean, even though they missed revenue by a little bit, increasing the guidance the way they did, that's why this is green in after hours. It's still up almost $10 a share. It was up almost $20 a share. So it's kind of retraced like half of that, kind of hanging out here right now, some of these fib levels, but still up a little bit over $10 a share. It's looking like a grabs to the Salesforce bulls. We're going to find out when their earnings call is with the upper management. So there could be another move when that goes down. So we got a good summary on Salesforce. A little bit of commentary from the CEO of Salesforce. And then after this, we're going to jump over to Snowflake. But the CEO, his name's Mark Benioff. He's the chair and CEO of Salesforce. A little bit of couple statements he made before they do the earnings web call that they released with the earnings data. He says, we are raising fiscal year 2026 revenue guidance to $41.45 billion to $41.55 billion. So a little bit of a small range there, but nonetheless, the estimate for the guidance before he mentioned that was 41.3. So raised the guidance for revenue for 2026. And that was said by Mark Benioff, the CEO. He also says our Agent Force and Data 360 products are the momentum drivers, hitting nearly 1.4 billion, an explosive 114% year-over-year gain. And Mark goes on to say, we now have over 9,500 paid Agent Force deals and 3.2 trillion tokens processed, underscoring our leadership in building the agentic enterprise and driving real outcomes. So some pretty good statements there from the CEO. The CEO, that's Mark Benioff, the CEO. The CFO, Chief Financial Officer, her name's Robin Washington. She says our Q3 momentum, continued Agent Force adoption, further reinforces our path to achieve our $60 billion plus organic revenue target and our profitable growth framework target of 50 by fiscal year 2030. That was said by Robin Washington. She's also the president and the CFO. Okay. I'm going to go to their investor relations page. Let's find out when their earnings web call is and how to get there, and then we're going to jump over to Snowflake. Give me 1 second, and I'll pull that up for everybody. I know a lot of people are probably here for Snowflake, about 350 people in the stream now. Let's take a little look here. Okay, I'll keep Salesforce on the left here. It's that 244.50 level I was talking about. Looks like it might be holding as a higher low, so this looks promising. It might possibly get another move up here. The actual web call, I just saw it. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna actually go to let me go to news first. So I'm gonna post this link actually. Let me go back a little bit. Yeah, I'll just go right here. So get this link. I'll put it in the comments for everybody. This is how you're going to get to their earnings web call. I'll put it on the bottom of my screen. Okay. And then also I wanted to post the results as well. I'll post that real quick. It's fine. I'll put that in the comments. So actually, I'll put this up first. So that's the EPS and revenue results. Again, CRM missed revenue just by a tiny bit, but they beat EPS very good. And 2026 guidance was raised. All right. So now I'm just going to go to news real quick. So if you want to dig, have a deeper dive into their earnings, just go to this investor news section under the news link there. You can click on this, and this is going to give you the press release of the earnings data. Okay. So you can see all the financial highlights. You can see the commentary that I just went over a little bit ago. Salesforce company. So more highlights down here, and then they talk about the guidance, and then they have nice little line item information here. You can see operating margin, operating cash flow growth, free cash flow growth, which was 13 to 14%. That's pretty good. Revenue growth, things of that nature. And then you can see the guidance numbers and all that. So, if you want to dive deeper, because we just kind of went over a summary on whether they beat EPS, revenue, and then the guidance and some commentary and stuff like that. But if you want to dive deeper, That's the link on the bottom of my screen right there. That'll take you right to it. So let's find out when their web call is. I'm just going to go to events. And Salesforce is holding up here. Again, I had like a 75% retrace from that initial positive reaction, but now it's holding up. 244.50. That's my support for after hours on CRM right now. So let's look at when their conference call is going to be. And I'm actually not seeing it on their page. Let me go back to the home. Let me go back to their overview here and see if it's just on there. Yeah, here it is here. So here's the webcast. Let me just click on this. And it's at 2 p.m. Pacific time, which is going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern today. Okay, so in another 40 minutes. And they'll have you fill out this little form. It's okay. You're not gonna get spammed. They're just keeping track of how many people come into the earnings call. But 5 p.m. Eastern today. So there you go. We got 40 minutes before we're gonna have more data, because of course at the earnings call they're gonna talk about the guidance in a little more detail and stuff like that. So let me move this over. So we know what's going on with Salesforce or CRM. If anyone needs just a quick summary, if you're just joining the stream, just type it in the comments and I'll let you know. But we went over it pretty thoroughly. So now I want to talk. Oh, look, there's some more buying coming in on CRM. So it looks like that 244.50 area, 244.50 to 0.60 around there. Looks like it is going to hold as a higher low. So that's good. Snowflake just printed a bearish lowercase h pattern, is what we like to call that. And we like to trade these in the Discord, or I personally trade them in the Discord when I see them. A little day trade scalp or something. Usually you see the sell candle, and it comes up, gets rejected off some EMAs, and starts forming like a lowercase h. It's kind of what it looks like. And we'll scalp it down to the low a day usually, but let's see what's going on with Snowflake, because investors aren't happy with the data, obviously. Snowflake closed the regular session at $265 a share to the penny. It was up 2% on the day. Now they're sitting here in after hours down a little over 17 bucks a share, just about 6.5%. It looked like they wanted to maybe retrace a little bit, but ended up being a little dead cat bounce there. So that, it's still up in the air where the bottom is on this thing. Maybe it could be a double bottom bounce here in after hours. We'll see. I'd probably put it around 246. I mean, it did wick down to 244. These are just 1 minute candles, so take it for what it is. But maybe like a $2 range could be the support. This is $200 to $300 stock here, so a little $2 range, maybe 244 to 246. It's kind of what I'm looking at as possibly a bottom. We'll see what happens if it's printing a red candle right now, but we'll see on the subsequent candles if it does come down to 244 to test that, or anywhere between 244 and 246, because it does have some bottom wicks here, which shows buying pressure. So 244 to 246, kind of $2 range where the bottom might be. Let me see what the data is, though. I always love these little graphics that the earnings correspondent posts. Kind of clean, just gives you a bird's eye view of what's going on with the earnings. Okay, so this is for Snowflake. They double beat. Their year over year and quarter over quarter numbers are green, except for quarter over quarter EPS was unchanged. So from a bird's eye view, it looks good, right? And you're like, well, why the heck is it down? Well, that's why we got to look a little further and see if we can find some red flags here. And that's what I'm going to try and find for everybody to find out what's up. Okay. So the sales, and matter of fact, I'm gonna post this for Snowflake here. the EPS and the sales revenue, because they did double beat. Okay, but we're gonna find where the red flags are, because looking from above, the earnings look good, but obviously something is spooking investors. But for now, there's the sales revenue and the EPS data on the bottom of my screen. And let's just look for some other red flags and why it's selling off here. Net revenue retention was 125%. RPO 7.9 billion. That's up 37% year over year. Okay, here's some guidance information. Product sales guidance for 2026. They're projecting 4.5 billion. The estimate was 4.4 billion. And let me post this. This is for Snowflake, y'all. I'm going to post this in the Discord as well so y'all can see it. So the product sales guidance was increased a little bit. The operating margin is unchanged. The estimate was 9% on that, and they said it's looking like it's going to be 9%. So that's for the guidance for next year. Okay. And another side note here about Snowflake. Snowflake and Anthropic announced $200 million partnership to bring agentic AI to global enterprises. Okay, that's fine and dandy. That's not really exciting investors, though, is it? So I wonder if investors are concerned that they're spending $200 million with that partnership. Let's see what else I can find here. EPS, again, quarter over quarter was unchanged. Strong growth across the board, solid beat with accelerating revenue and momentum. But yeah, they're taking a hit right now. They're down $20 a share. Look at Salesforce. Looks like it's trying to print another higher low around 248 and some change here. Well, 244.50 was the level I was talking about earlier. That looks like it held. It's just like slowly trending up now, leading up to the earnings call. This is for Salesforce. The earnings web call is in about 30 minutes. It's at 5 p.m. Eastern. But back to Snowflake. Look at that bearish lowercase h pattern. Let me see what else I can find here. Just looking for some red flags. They beat EPS. They beat revenue. They increased guidance on the product sales. But the guidance on operating margin stayed the same. No increase there. And then they announced a $200 million partnership with Anthropic. Let's see what else I can find. There's got to be something I'm not seeing here. Some of these people on X are hilarious. All right, almost 400 people tuning in. What's up, everybody? I'm looking for some red flags here. Let me see if I can find some. Okay, let's take a look. It's like everyone's just highlighting the positive stuff and kind of pushing the negative stuff under the carpet. Let's see. This is from the Bloomberg terminal here. There's a lot of this we kind of already went over, but adjusted EPS 35 cents versus estimate of 31 cents. We already know that. Third quarter product. This is data from the Bloomberg terminal, by the way. So the Q3 product revenue, 1.16 billion. The estimate was 1.14 billion, so they beat that. Operating margin 7%. That's for Q4 adjusted. Q3 revenue 1.21 billion. Estimate was 1.19 billion. We already know that. Still sees fiscal year adjusted operating margin at 9%. I think maybe that's what I think investors were hoping that the operating margin would be a little bit better, but that is not changed. So that could be an issue there. And again, the stuff on the Bloomberg terminal, they're just repeating a lot of stuff I said already. The Q4 product revenue guidance was increased a little bit. Fiscal year product revenue was increased a little bit, but The only thing I'm really seeing that might be upsetting investors a little bit right now is the operating margin. I think investors were wanting that to improve a little bit, and there was no improvement whatsoever there. Let's see if I can find anything else. And a lot of stuff I'm seeing I've already went over. Couple statements here from the higher ups. The data warehouse era is ending. Okay, never mind. This is just a statement from an analyst. The AI data cloud era has begun. So data warehouse era ending. AI data cloud era has begun. Snowflake isn't just storing the oil anymore. They're building the engine. Okay. And they got a strong thesis moving forward, but they're selling off. I think it's probably because the operating margin was unchanged. Investors wanted to see improvement on that. If I can find anything else negative, I'll definitely let everybody know. Snowflake Intelligence saw the fastest adoption ramp in company history, fueling real-time AI-driven business insights. Okay. I'm going to go to their investor relations page. And let's look at this here. You know, and sometimes that's just what happens. You know, it's good earnings and you know, maybe market makers are just, and institutions are just pushing this down for liquidity or something. We'll have to wait and see. And, you know, if it's anything like what Marvel did yesterday, Marvel, you know, had some real sloppy price action and then all of a sudden caught a bid when they did their earnings web call. So, you know, something similar like that could happen here. Okay, and Snowflake customers with over $1 million in product revenue, there's 688 of them. Forbes Global 2000 customers, 766 of those. Operating income, as far as the gap goes, is negative 329.5 million. Maybe that's what investors were seeing. Operating income in the negative on the gap side. Non-gap, it's 131 million in the positive, but negative 329 million for the operating income. So maybe that's the red flag there, in addition to the operating margin not improving. Everything else looks solid. I don't really see too much bad stuff outside of the negative gap operating, operating income, excuse me. Okay. Okay, let me just look up a few more things. Let me go to their. Okay, here's some stuff here. There's a couple more negatives here. Operating expenses, which is OPEX, is what you can call it. Operating expenses, they did miss that by 0.6%, which, you know, they missed the consensus, or I mean the estimate of 0.6%. Operating expense growth year over year, they missed by 70 basis points. So yeah, I guess there's a few negative things there. Just find out when they're going to do their earnings web call, because then the higher ups can explain things, you know, give more detail into the guidance and stuff like that. Let me see here. Okay, let me go to their investor relations page, because they just made a new after hours low here. They're down at 243 a share. Let's see where some support possibly might be on the weekly time frame. It's pretty clear, because these are weekly candles. Probably going to be around 230 a share. That's where I'd be looking for a possible bounce. These weekly time frames hold a lot more weight than the time frames below it. I'm going to put my line at 230. It's at 242 right now. 242 and some change. If for some reason, you can see, this is the weekly chart. You don't see the candle from the post-market data, but you see this blue line. TradingView is nice enough to give us that post-market price action there. So it's at 240.08. I'd be looking at 230 for a bounce, potentially the bottom of this weekly candle. So there'll probably be 2 support levels. Bottom of this green weekly candle, it's around 235, and then 230. Just keep your support levels easy, round numbers. It's always funny. I see people like, oh, there's support at 230.62. It's like, no, that's not what it is. You know, what if that's, you do it like that, and then I always use even numbers. It's just good, easy to remember mental levels. My support levels on Snowflake, 235 and 230. It's trading at 242 right now. All right. So yeah, let's see when their web call is, because I know everyone wants to know that. Almost 400 people tuning in now. Yeah, Rollin, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Rollin on Discord kind of just was saying some of the things I was saying as well. We're kind of on the same page there. It's the margin is only 9%. That's low. You know, I kind of agree. I think that's kind of, I think investors wanted to see improvement on that, and there just was none. It was unchanged. And then they had some other issues with operating expenses. So that's the negative data I could see so far. But I'm going to go back intraday on Snowflake and just kind of see where it's still trying to find the bottom. So I'm not even interested in drawing any fib levels on this yet, because it's still trying to find the bottom. It's in the low 240s now. Let's see when their call is. Salesforce doing good, slowly trending up, leading up to their call. It's in about 25 more minutes. They're at 5 p.m. Eastern for Salesforce earnings web call. I'll put that link back up there if anyone wants to attend the earnings web call for CRM. There we go. Let's see if Snowflake can find a bottom. They just made another after hours low at 238. I like my first support level at 235. That's where I'm going to be looking. Just move this up a little bit. And 235 and then 230. You know, if it even gets down there, we'll see. The 235 on the weekly chart. That's where some demand's at. Let me reset this chart. Zoom in. 235. It's right around the bottom of this last week's green candle. So I think there's buyers probably down there. So we'll see what it ends up doing for the remainder of after hours. But yeah, still waiting for a bottom to come in. So I'm not really interested in dip buying this until it starts making some higher lows. So it made an attempt to do it back here, but it just couldn't hold. And now it's making lower lows. And I don't like entering long when it's printing lower lows. I like to wait for the higher lows, because then we know it's starting to trend back up, and there's a good chance the bottom's in, right? So, all right, let's take a look at Snowflake. I'll keep the price on the right. Still waiting for a bottom to come in here. Let me just check a few things. Also, I'll post this link for everybody in the comments. This is how you're going to get to the earnings web call. Let me save some people some time. I'll go ahead and put that on the bottom of my screen. So that's how you get. I'll post it in Discord as well, because I'm not going to personally stream it. I was thinking I'm going to talk to the other staff members over here in the Discord, but maybe I'll start streaming the actual earnings web call, because what I've been doing is coming in here before the earnings web call and just kind of going through the data that was dropped, and the EPS, the revenue, the guidance, anything like that. But you know, I know people want to see the earnings web call, the actual web call with the CEO and CFO and all that. So maybe I will start streaming those in the future. But I just like looking at levels on the bigger time frames and seeing where support and resistance possibly might be, depending on what type of reaction that they got from the earnings data. And we have a lot of fun. So, but let's go here to, this is for Snowflake.
go to events and presentations, and we'll go for today's date. And yeah, they got a presentation right here, slideshow. It's a 35 slides on this presentation. I'm not going to go through every slide, but this, if you want to deep dive into their earnings, you can, watch this presentation. Again, it's 35 slides long, but you can do that on your own time. The link on the bottom of my screen is how you get to all this stuff. If you don't want to watch the slideshow, you could probably just click this PDF document here, and this will break it down. And yes, this is a 35-page PDF document, just like the presentation they posted. So this will definitely give you lots of insight into their earnings outside of what we've already discussed here on the stream. So I'm not going to go through all of this because we've kind of already went over a lot of it. But it's good to know where to find this information at, so everyone has access to it. And this is not just some news article analyst. Like, this is from Snowflake, straight from the horse's mouth. So the info is good. All right. But they got a nice, a lot of nice graphics here that make things a lot easier to understand for the average person. So really good stuff there. Now let me find out when the earnings web call is. And it looks like we got a link right here. It says webcast. You can click on that. And it's at 5 p.m. Eastern. So Snowflake and Salesforce are both having their earnings web call at the exact same time. So kind of pick your poison, unless you're going to have two monitors pulled up and you can listen to both at once. But it's either one or the other on this one. I'm probably more interested in Snowflake's earnings web call more than Salesforce. I mean, both stocks are kind of trading around the same area. They're both kind of in the mid 200s. So similar companies as far as the stock price goes. But I've always been a bit more of a fan of Snowflake than I am Salesforce. So, and I want to know, Salesforce overall has a positive reaction, even though they retraced a bit, but now they're trending up slowly. I'd be more interested of knowing what the upper management has to say about Snowflake's guidance into next year, because of course we're all forward looking, and maybe they can help get this stock price up a little bit when they do their earnings web call. Again, that's at 5 p.m. Eastern in about 20 minutes. All right. I guess I'll throw a fib on here since we might have a bottom around 239, possibly. We'll see. And these fib levels lining up pretty nicely here. So resistance level number one, if it's around 239, if that is the bottom, it's got to retrace at least 25% of this down move, and that puts it right around 245, 246. So has a little bit to go, about $4 a share to go. Trading just below 243 right now. It's at 242.75. If it can get above 246, things might start looking a little better for the bulls here. And maybe this bottom is in around 239. We'll see. But 25% needs to get taken out before I even think about anything else. But I suppose my next level up is going to be this golden level here, 0.61 level. You can see it lines up perfectly with where it got rejected from after it had this negative reaction. So that's going to be an important level for me. And that's right around 255, 256 a share. We call it 256. So resistance level number one is this 25%. If it can't get above there or it gets rejected from there, it's going to be another dead cat bounce here and might come down to a new post-market low. 246 needs to be taken out, and then 256. So it's like a $10 for my two levels, 246 and 256. Those levels got to get taken out. I'll have a little more confidence that the bulls are going to be okay here. This is for Snowflake. So we'll see. And again, both of the earnings calls are at 5 p.m. Eastern for Snowflake and Salesforce. They're going down at the same time.
But yeah, I don't really got too much else today. I did. Let's look at the Discord and go to my alert channel and just kind of share some of the things that have been popping off lately. I am running the wheel strategy on bull, and I am on the covered call side. I'm currently targeting the $11 covered calls on bull, and actually had a few of them deployed already. They're open right now, and I'm up 84% on those. So that trade's going beautifully, and I'm just going to keep rinse and repeating the covered calls, constantly reducing my cost basis on every cycle. And I'm just going to do that while I wait for the shares to appreciate back up. I am long-term bullish on bull, and my name in the Discord is TheSwingingBull. So there's lots of bull going on with that in a good way. But I am long-term bullish on bull. And the next session I have with the Discord members in my coaching group, I got over 100 people in my coaching group now. Everyone's just been making money with me all year writing. I specialize in writing contracts. Okay, so most of my trades, I'm on the selling side of the opening transaction. That's where I like to live. That's where I like to be. Over the years, that's just been the most profitable and consistent way of trading for me personally. Everyone's different, but I prefer to be an option seller, not an option buyer. So anyways, on the covered call side of bull, just going to keep rinsing, repeating the covered calls, continuously reducing my cost basis on each cycle while I'm waiting for the shares to appreciate back up. And I'm also considering taking some of the premium I'm making on the covered calls and perhaps buying some longer dated leaps on bull, around 2027, around there. And that'll set me up where my upside's not capped anymore, because I'm a contract writer, and of course our upside's a bit capped. We do have a max gain when we're writing contracts. So every now and then I do take some of the premium and buy some longer dated options, so I can participate in the explosive upside that I think is going to happen with bull in due time. We don't know when, but I'm just going to run the wheel strategy on it until that happens, and slowly probably scale into some naked call leaps on it. And I'll get the premium I'm receiving on the covered calls. I'll use that to pay for the leaps. So I'm not even really paying for the leaps, but once I get a certain amount of covered call cycles in. So that's a beautiful thing there. I do have a neutral to bullish spread opened up on Mara. That's paying 34% return on capital. These are the numbers just for one spread. I usually do a handful of these. 63% chance of profit. My break even is 11.66. And I believe as of today, Mara is still above 12. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, Mara had a nice run into the end of the day. I totally missed that, but I do have an open spread trade on it. That's obviously performing well. I sold the spread at the $12 level. So technically, I just need Mara. What happened to my? Oh, there it is. Technically, I just need Mara to stay above my break even by expiration, and the expiration date is next Friday, the 12th. I don't even have to. It's not like I'm married to the trade. I'm just taking the trade out on a date, right? Dinner and a movie, and then see ya. So December 12th is when that ends, right? So, I don't have to hold it long. I just opened this up yesterday. If you want to get these trades in real time, you got to join the Discord. I'm not here to sell you anything, but the fact of the matter is, if you're not in the Discord, you're not going to get them in real time. So I opened this yesterday, and basically just want Mara to stay above $11.66 a share by December 12th. And this is going to be a winning trade. It's as easy as that. Okay. And then I got a little recap of some of my other open wheel trades there. And yeah, so we have a lot of fun. These were some cash secured puts. I actually opened a short strangle on bull. I've done that twice now. I've made some decent money on that each time. And basically what I'm doing with I'm basically converting the covered calls to a short strangle, if you will. Like, these are the types of trades I do in the Discord. So I'm selling covered calls on top of the price, but then I deploy, using some extra capital, I do deploy
in some situations, cash secured puts below the price. So in essence, I'm strangling the stock price of bull in the middle. I'm getting double income on each cycle when I do that. I've already done that twice. And this was a NVIDIA spread we did last week that paid 60, or no, wait, I think it paid 30, because there's 250 wide spread, and we collected $64 a spread when we opened it. So 64 divided by 250. Yeah, this one paid 25% return on capital. My spread trades, I like to get at least 20% on those. So this one paid more than that, so it was great. I ended up taking profit on that the next day. That was for just one spread on that one. I had a few others on another account, but I ended up getting almost 50% on it. So I figured that was good. So I let the Discord know I was getting out of that. But yeah, just wanted to kind of go over some of the previous trades, and had a really nice covered call trade on UMAC just a few short weeks ago, and got $75 a contract when I wrote the contracts, and I did a few of them, brought in an easy 144 and some change on that. So that was an easy trade. But yeah, anyways, it's just a little peek into my alert channel on the Discord, let everyone know kind of the types of trades that I do and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really got much else for today. If you are looking for 4 high probability trade setups delivered to your inbox every morning, of course, during the trading week at 9 a.m. Eastern, check the first link in the description. It's free. It doesn't cost any money. I love giving out free stuff. And so definitely we've gotten a lot of great feedback on that. So check that out. If you're looking for a new trading community to hang out with every day, and we do live trading every day. We put out alerts with entries, exits, risk management, anything like that. Live streams all the time going on. So if you're looking for a new home, definitely check us out. My name's The Swinging Bull. With the Discord is PB Alerts. So if you're looking for a new home, check us out. You can also join for free. Everything's in the description of the stream. And if you do join, tag me in the chat. I'll come by and say hello. Maybe we can chat for a little bit, and maybe there's something I can help you out with pretty quickly. So, but yeah, other than that, Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. I hope everyone has a fantastic night. Until next time, I'll see everyone in the very next stream. Cheers.